Yo, yo, yo. How's it going? Another day, another dollar, right? Also known as another couple dollars, maybe, perhaps. Hopefully, we'll make a couple dollars every day. um, yeah, I just want to make a little vlog video celebrating the win of sports, the win of joy. No, there's a lot of things to celebrate and be thankful for, and I am very excited and thankful for them. The Capitals play tonight. I'm super excited about that. Game 3. It's going to be a big one in Raleigh. It's okay. And it's going to be great. Yeah, I'm going to go play paintball with my aunt. My uncle and cousin and second cousins. Super excited about that. It's a beautiful day here in the neighborhood. I am nearby. I'm in a neighborhood pet sitting for my friends, and it's a nice little neighborhood they live in. And there's a beautiful sunny day, and lots of people are out here with yard sales. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm going paintballing, which is super exciting. That's a total joy. And I'm really liking this trend. I could honestly get a little bit emotional about this, basically. But I'm really blessed. I'm really lucky, and I'm really thankful for this going on today. Going paintballing, and then getting together with some friends this afternoon for pizza and some games, and that's really exciting. I'm really excited about that. I wish my blower in my car would blow a little better, but that's okay. That's just how it goes sometimes. Yeah. Max AC is like almost twice as strong as your blower all the way up. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, just really excited about some things going on. Looking forward to the day, and I'm emotional, or slightly emotional, because I'm so blessed, and I'm kind of in awe. I'm like, dude, this is really crazy. I have some really cool things going on, and I'm really excited for them, and like, I'm just so blessed. And first of all, I do want to share with you guys that going to school is a divine action. We're meant to grow and learn and progress, and going to college is a divine action, meaning it's something that is sustained by God, and you'll be rewarded for it. I have been rewarded for it, and I am being rewarded for it. It's just such a wonderful gift, a magical gift, really. Like that. That's how it feels. But yeah, I'm seeing the fruits of my labors, and it's funny because I get the fruits of my labor in that, like, I get the good grade, or I get the thing that I worked for. I worked hard for a good grade, and then I'll end up getting it, and that's really great, which I am thankful and lucky for that. You don't always get that even when you do work hard. So I'm really glad and grateful for that. But I'm also seeing in my life the circumstances and the situations around me. I'm seeing in the things around me, the little things here and there. I'm being celebrated for my efforts of going to school. Like when I'm out of school and I'm home, and like there's not a lot going on, and I catch my breath or whatever, I could fall into a feeling of being like, man, I'm such a loser. I'm not doing anything. I'm not accomplishing anything. But I don't feel like that. Now, when I am procrastinating, I do feel it, because I recognize I'm procrastinating. Most of the time, I try to do a really good job ignoring it when I do, because that's what a procrastinator does. But I'm just noticing a lot of really good things. And in other words, I don't feel bad. I feel good. I feel great, and I feel the world around me. I feel the universe, if you will, or I don't want to say it that way, but you know what I mean. You feel your surroundings just kind of lifting you up, and you feel everything else kind of sustaining you. You feel like, yes, you feel supported. I feel supported. I feel really supported, and I'm really, really excited about that. And so I know sometimes you kind of walk your own road, and you're wondering if it's going to pay off, or you're wondering if you're doing the right thing, or something like that. And then you hope you are, you know you are, you pray you are, you believe you are. But still sometimes you go through those periods where you're not really sure, or you haven't really been told, or you're not really seeing anything that might necessarily say that you are doing the right thing, that you should continue. And then all of a sudden it hits you, and you're like, oh shoot, I am doing the right thing. And that's how it is. So I'm really thankful for that. And so yeah, I'm really excited and thankful for things going on. Going to play paintball, that's just like such a fun thing. I mean, like that's like a normal event. That's like a normal life activity, right? Well, I haven't had a lot of normal life activities, just because of because of things have gone. Like I've been busy with this or busy with that, or trying to find this out, trying to figure out that. But as I have kept working, and as my life has been coming together more, which is a really amazing thing, really awesome things keep happening. And I'm so not used to it that I'm like, I don't even know how to, it's unusual. It's unusual for me. And one of the biggest blessings right now is not only am I blessed because these things are happening, but I'm blessed because they are starting to feel familiar. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is just normal life now. This is amazing. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. This is amazing. I love this. This is amazing. You know, and I'm really thankful for that. And that is a big deal. But yeah, looking forward to it. Just amazing. I have some really great friends, and really supportive, kind, loving friends, thoughtful friends, fun friends, you know. Really excited just about a lot of different things. So I want to talk a little bit more about some stuff that I talked about in the past, because I really want to go into it, and I really want to work on this. I really want to like look into this and like get some stuff done in this department. And I started talking about this recently too. I have a video called like personal whatever, something, personal video, personal vlog, something like that. Deep dive, basically. But I don't know. We'll see how far I get. We'll see what we can get into, because sometimes you want to, and then you try, and then you find out, oh, maybe not. You know, maybe I should do that later, or maybe I shouldn't do that, or something like that. You know. I kind of feel that way. But no, it's been really cool talking about things and processing things a bit from my past, and just different things, particularly my first marriage, and just different things about life in general. And I've really been enjoying it, because I really needed to do the work, and I really needed to work through some things. And it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of work. Emotional work you're not always ready to do, and you can't always do it, and it's tricky, because you kind of have to do it when you can, or when you're ready, or whatever. It's kind of interesting. You just kind of have to do it when you can. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to work through a little bit more here. So I'll talk about it a little bit. So when I moved to Reno, me and my girlfriend at the time, she was my serious girlfriend, I was like, dude, this is what we're doing. Like, I just moved across the country for you, and I wasn't coming from this place where I'm like, I just came across the country for you, so you know, this and this. No, I was coming from the, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is amazing. This is a massive life change. I am so excited. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little scared, but ultimately, I think this is the right thing to do. I think this is what I want to do. I'm just like, and the dark side was, well, I need to do this because my life kind of sucks, and I don't have a lot of confidence, and I don't see anything like this happening. I don't feel like I'm getting these kinds of opportunities in my life at all. And so here's a wonderful one, and I really need to take advantage of it. The chance to move across the country, and it's a big gamble and jump, but I knew I could do it. My girlfriend knew we could do it. She was like down. She was like down like a clown. She was basically like, yeah, so, it's not even a big deal. Like, what's the problem? Like, what are you even worried about? And she had some doubts about me, I think, and my abilities. Mostly related to money, because I was in her eyes, I think in her eyes I was a little irresponsible. I was a little irresponsible in her eyes, not as frugal or as money protective as she was. So she had some kind of thoughts like that, but it was just a really exciting time to like move across the country. And I wasn't like, and I was mature. I was mature for my age. She was mature for her age. We were like 19, like 18, 19, 20, 19 basically. And so still super young, but we knew we could do it. We had the support of her family. Her parents were driving with us in their vehicle across the country. They were moving to California. We were moving to Reno. We went to California with them to like just get there and relax for a few days before we recouped and headed to Reno on our own. So that's what we did. And then came the time for me and her to go to Reno. And it was like, okay, here we go. Here's the precursor to our lives. We're going to get married in the future. Most likely, that's the plan. We're probably going to get married. Not thinking about that now, but, this is part of the plan of like, oh my gosh, like I'm out here. Like this is part of the plan. I plan to marry you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. And so we drove from California to Reno. And it was amazing. And I was still like, oh my gosh, like, what's this gonna be like? I'm gonna come out here and like this is gonna be where a lot of things weren't clicking for me. It was like so surreal. California was its own thing, and I had been to California already the year before, but now here we are, and we're on our way to where we're gonna live. And this is a really big deal because we're gonna live on the other side of the country. And I've never lived on the other side of the country before. Like, right? This is crazy. This is brand new. New stuff all around. Amazing. Amazing stuff. So, but looking forward to it, right? Like seeing like what's this gonna be like? What is this? What's this gonna be like? And so we get out there and we finally get to her grandmother's house. We're like, okay, here it is. Oh my gosh, here it is. And like I had seen pictures and stuff like that, and I had met her grandmother once before. So I had met her, so it wasn't too strange. It wasn't too foreign to me. But it was an experience, it was an experience. Getting there to their house and being like, oh my gosh, here I am, and here we are, we're in my car. And Kate's car, I think, was already there. They had it shipped there. Shipped like on a trucked there. And here we are. And come in and say hello to her grandma and her papa. That's what that's what everybody calls her grandfather. And just like get settled in and like, oh my gosh, wow, we're here, right? We're here. And it felt like a visit, I'll be honest. It felt like a visit. It felt like a long-term destination. It felt like we had been traveling for miles and miles, which we had, of course. Been traveling for miles and miles, and we're finally here, and now we're going to visit with them for a little bit before we go. That's how it felt. But I, of course, knew that wasn't the case. It was like, no, actually, this is where you're going to stay, of course, for now, at least, until you find a place. Until you get a job, until she gets a job, until you both get your place to live, your apartment or whatever. And there's just really a strong sense of possibility and a lack of fear. Like, yeah, I was a little nervous and things did depend on me. I did feel some pressure and some heat to like make sure things happened and got my job and everything. But I also knew that I was going to. I mean, I believed that I could. I believed that I knew I could do it. And this was new, because this was a new concept to me. This was a new sense of, oh my gosh, here I am. I'm all the way out here now, and I've got to do this. And I have people around me who love and support me. And I had people around me who loved and support me too at home. But it was just different. It was just different. It was just different. It was easier to do for some reason because I had to do it. And I couldn't just like not, right? I couldn't like just be like, well, I don't really want to. I just want to stay here with your grandparents. They'd be like, what? What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? You know? And of course, that's not what I wanted to do anyway. So this all kind of just started happening and unfolding. And living there with them, got there in like late October, early November, somewhere around there. Had Thanksgiving, and it was an amazing life-changing event. I remember driving across the country with her parents. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. Getting there, long drive, crazy long drive, crazy things, crazy long drive, and they're getting there, and then getting through the winter and the Christmas and seeing the snow. And the Reno and the, oh my gosh, I'm in Reno, never seemed to wear off. It was just like, oh my gosh, I'm in Reno. Like, this is crazy. This is what? I'm in Reno. I'm in Reno now. I'm in Reno with my girlfriend. And my girlfriend's from California. And like, I love her. And like she loves me. And like, oh my gosh, we're in love. And I'm so happy. And I'm out, and like, we're so far from home, or I'm so far from home. But like, I'm not even worried because I'm out here to live my life. I'm here to live my life. I'm here to live my life, It was like that. It was like that feeling. It was like, we out here. It was like that. It was like, we out here to the max, basically. And eventually I got a job. We got there in like I said, like November something. And time was going by really slow. Time was going by really slow. And it was interesting. And just acclimating to different scenery, different surroundings, different life in a different part of the country. Life is different out west than it is in the east. It's different here in the east. And then in January, I got an interview, had a couple of job leads and stuff like that, and had an interview at a store. And I went in for it, and I ended up doing really well, and prayed about it and asked for prayers. And I wasn't like a full-time Christian at the time, let's say, because I wasn't going to church, and I wasn't really like, I was a Christian, but like I wasn't like, I never made any distinction about it, but at the time I wasn't like praying and like asking God. I would like only pray if like I needed Him, or if I was really scared or really worried or something. And that just never happened. I just kind of like took it all on the chest, or took it on the chin, however you want to say it. It felt like more my chest than my chin, but still, you know what I mean? And got this job, and it was really wonderful, and I found out the pay rate was going to be so much, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is more than I ever made before. My mind is blown, obviously maximally blown. I topped out at $9 an hour at my old job. I've been there for like 4 years almost. And then, I've been there for about 4.5 years. And then topped out at $9 an hour, and then I start at $15.85. I was just like, I'm losing my mind. I'm rolling in my dough. I'm rolling in the dough. We're rolling. It's crazy. And like, Reno is more expensive to live in than Maryland, perhaps, or I don't know. It was interesting. We could have lived in Maryland. We could have found a place to live in Maryland, but Maryland's expensive too. But obviously, when you're in the real world and you have to afford your apartment, it's like, yeah, you make that money, but that money's going to be gone. And you need to pay your bills, and you need to do this and that. So we learned how to be responsible. We were working on learning how to be responsible, basically, right? Like how to do that. she got a job and she started working too, and both had our cars and our apartment, and just were like living life, working hard and living life, right? And it was interesting. It was like, wow, what is this? This is interesting. I don't know. This is pretty interesting, you know. And yeah, things were interesting, and things were fun, and interesting is the word. I'm just going to keep saying the word interesting because it was. It was interesting because things happened and I couldn't put my finger on them, and I couldn't really figure out what this was or what was going on here or what was going on there. But stuff was happening and I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm still going. Things are still good. And I just feel like eventually over time I got depleted. And I started, like, my substance kept getting dumped out, if that makes sense, like just being drained slowly. Kind of a weird thing to say, kind of a weird thing to think about and try to explain, but yeah, it felt like I was getting drained slowly. And the job was hard and demanding and stressful, but I was doing it, and there were certain things about it that I hated that were driving me nuts, and that's just the way it was. And so, oh my gosh, this is so annoying, this is so frustrating. But I'd come home, and Kate would be there, and she'd be telling me, you know, I'd talk to her and tell her about this being lame or whatever, and she would listen to me and stuff. She wouldn't, like, go out of her way to, like, console me or, like, listen to me or, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, like, that's insane, that's crazy. And also, I was afraid, I don't know how much I shared with her, how open I was with her about the stuff I was struggling with, because it was hard, because I always felt like I didn't want to upset her, because I felt like if I upset her, then she was going to leave. And I had that fear built into me, I think, because of my dad leaving us when I was little, left my mom when I was 2, left me and my mom when I was 2. And so I think I had that built into me. I didn't want to lose Kate. I couldn't fathom losing her, so I had to do everything in my power to keep her. Everything in my power, including doing things that made me feel uncomfortable, or doing things that put me last, or put me down, or put me off to the side, including doing those things. And that those are unhealthy habits. So I did unhealthy things, basically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, unhealthy things, in order to make sure that she was good all the time, because I didn't want to lose her. And then eventually, as time passed, and I'm speeding up here, time did start going by. Eventually, I got to points where I was like, dude, I don't even care. Like, I don't even care. Like, I'm just going to tell you what's going on, and I don't even care. Like, because I'm just going to tell you what's going on. And, you know, and I struggled, and we worked through things here and there. And we would go visit her parents in California when they got settled in there. We'd go see them and visit them. And I got along with their family, and I met her cousin and became friends with her cousin, who was, he was a preteen, basically. Here I am, like 19, 20, and he's like a preteen, so he's way younger than me. But at the same time, we ended up becoming really good friends. And the reason why we became really good friends was because we just got along. We just got along, and he was just always full of good vibes. He was always on the up and up, and he understood. It was like he knew something that I knew. And that thing was a very complicated thing. And it was that, you know, despite all this stuff going on around me with my family, despite the drama, despite this, that, the pressures, the expectations, the cattiness of females in the family, the this and that, drama, dilemma, whatever, he's still there. He didn't have a choice, because this was his life. And I didn't have a choice either, in a way, because it was my life as well, and I had to live it, basically. But he was just like, you know, I'm here, I'm doing it. And he did it with, like, a grace that I when I saw him, I related to him, and I saw a lot of the stuff that he was going through that no one else seemed to notice or care about or really deal with. I felt for him, because I knew he was going through stuff. I gotta get some cool air in here, man. This air is not working at all. Yeah. And so we became really good friends and confidants, oddly enough. And like we would do fun things. We would ride bikes, and I guess I'd be a little immature, and I had to be a little immature basically because if I wasn't, it wouldn't really work with me and him as friends. And it was weird. We just became friends, and it was an unlikely relationship, unlikely friendship. But it was very important. It was very important for me. And at first I really thought it was important for him. And I think it was important for him eventually, having me as a friend. But it was really important for me having him as a friend. And it wasn't enough ultimately. That sounds really horrible, but like it wasn't enough ultimately because things were hard. But I needed somebody. I needed someone that I could confide in. And that's what your partner is supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to confide in your partner. But and I was able to, like I would tell her the stuff that nobody else knew or I didn't tell anyone else. But still, I mean, you still deal with stuff with that partner, with that person. And a lot of times, you know, it's like you go through these periods where you're just like, what the heck, this is so annoying, or I'm so annoyed right now, or this is ridiculous, I'm so annoyed, I'm angry, or I'm frustrated. But I'd get over it, and she would get over it, or whatever, and we'd just move on. And eventually some changes happened with my job, and I got demoted, and it was really hard, and I struggled. I got demoted, and I got put on night crew at work. And same pay, but demoted, like it was just demoted, taken out of the department. I was the department manager of dairy, and they put me on freight crew at night because I had too much shrink in dairy, meaning I threw away too many products and lost too much money for the company, which really sucks and is really embarrassing actually. But it's not my fault. I mean, I did everything I could, and the people around me didn't really help me very much. I felt like I failed because the people around me allowed me to fail. I felt like I was allowed to fail, and I feel like that's not cool. You shouldn't be allowed to fail. People should help you. I'm not saying people should jump in and do your job for you. I'm saying they should have helped me. They should have seen, and they should have helped me, but they didn't. And it was just like, that's just how it was. Welcome to the real world, you know? And so that was hard. And so now I'm working freight crew, which meant midnight to 8 a.m. every night. Totally changes the dynamic of your life. Totally changes the dynamic of your life, to say the least. And if you have a significant other, of course, it changes your relationship with your significant other massively, completely. So we're not sleeping together in the same bed at night because I'm not even there at night. You know, lots of different changes, lots of different things. It was a hard readjustment. And eventually we moved to a different apartment, a bigger one for cheaper. It was farther away though. And so that was cool. I mean, it was exciting because it was different. It was exciting because it was change. It was exciting because, like, oh my gosh, here's something new. This is cool. Let's do this. This is cool. And okay, I guess we should do that because we're paying a lot for this place and we shouldn't have to pay this much. Our bills are tight. Let's get a cheaper place to live. It's a little bit cheaper per month. And, you know, I don't want to keep, you know, living here in this little tiny place. You know, yeah, it's closer, but it's smaller. And so we went further and bigger for less, for a little bit less. We're talking about $875 versus $840, or $750 versus $840, something like that a month in rent, which now is amazing, right? Amazing. But at the time, that was, you know, that was a lot. 2009 or whatever. So, moved there, working night shifts, and playing a lot of Call of Duty, binge watching a lot of shows. Started binge watching Dexter with her, and my I say my cousin. He is her cousin, my best friend, my good friend Evan, and just, you know, trying to live life, trying to live life, right? And it's getting harder. I'm not really realizing it. I am, but I don't know how to put it into context or how to put it into... I don't know what to do. I'm just saying it's hard. And I'm doing it, but it's hard. And I'm still like in my early 20s, so, you know, you have that unending energy to do this kind of stuff. You just have the energy to just go, go, go. You can just do that. But eventually it started taking a toll. It just got really hard, and I was working that night shift all the time. I was getting frustrated. Things with my girlfriend were kind of like, And I forgot, we got married. We got married before we moved into that second apartment. We got married, we had the whole big wedding and everything, which is a huge, big event. And like I said before, I kind of had to take a minute to myself and think about, like, what any man should do, of course. Any woman should do, of course, before accepting marriage, to think about it and ask, is this what you really want? And I felt like, well, I'm here. Like, basically, I'm like, well, it kind of has to be what I want, because I'm out here and I'm doing this. And what am I going to say? No, this isn't what I want. So what then? What then? What are we going to do if we don't get married now? We're going to just, like, slum it, like, live together and not be married, or like, what? Or just break up, or what? What's going to happen if we don't get married? So it's like, well, we had to get married. I understand. This was like, we had to get married. So we had to get married. So we got married. And we went on our honeymoon to San Francisco. It was wonderful. It was amazing. And all this stuff was happening. And it was all supposed to be so much better than it was. It was supposed to be so much better. It was supposed to be so amazing, and it was, and certain things were and everything. But I remember acting. At my marriage. And this is this is not a foreign concept, because so many people do this all the time, all over the place. But I acted at my marriage, and I acted in my life, and this is a part that I've never said this before, I never really put my finger on this, but I acted a lot. I acted a lot in my relationship, I acted a lot in my marriage. And when I say acted, I mean just that, acted like an actor would in a movie. You play a role a certain way, you behave a certain way, you say things, you say the things you know you're supposed to say. I was fulfilling my role. I wasn't being honest. I wasn't really talking about what was really going on. I wasn't saying, oh my gosh, this is so annoying, I can't wait to be done, I hate this, I hate these people, I hate you. I mean those are really, really extremes, and it didn't really go that far, and I would never, like, let myself say, feel, think, or imagine those things. But I mean, just for example, I'm not saying I did hate them, or but a lot of times you're in situations where that's the only way. Saying something like that is the only way to express your feeling, because it's that strong and it's that hard. You've been holding it in for so long. And I had a lot of that, a lot of repressed anger and anxiety and stress and depression, I guess, and just trying to make sense of it all. But you can't say anything about it, because if you say something about it, then that means you're not happy. And if you're not happy, then, well, what the heck now? You're that happy guy. You're Justin. Everybody loves Justin. So, if you don't do this right, and if you're not happy, then what's going on? And it's like, I could not stand the thought of having that kind of attention or, like, focus on me at all. I just couldn't stand it. And so I never got into it. I never went into it. Never talked about those feelings. Never dealt with those feelings. And at the same time, I was trying to make sense of everything at the same time, too. Trying to understand everything. And there's a lot of things I just thought were really lame. I was just, like, really sick and tired of having to do things certain ways. And, like I said before, I was living to please my wife, basically. Which is a noble thing to do, but it's also, you have to be careful about that kind of stuff. You can't live your life to please other people. Like, you just can't do that. Like, you have to be, it's tricky. You want to serve people, you want to be kind to people, you want to be a blessing to people. But if you spend your life trying to make people happy or appease them or anything like that, it's just not going to be good. And that's what I was doing. I was living specifically for her, to keep her happy, to make her happy, and to keep us afloat, and to convince her that I was happy. See this terrible situation? You see how bad see how much of a struggle this was? It was really hard, and it's destined to break, and it did break eventually. But we did our thing, and life got a little better, life got a little easier, she joined a thing called The Biggest Little City Loser. Because at the time, The Biggest Loser was like the biggest show on TV. It was like, well, not the biggest, but it's like a big show on TV. Weight loss, The Biggest Loser, competition to lose weight. And they did a program in Reno called The Biggest Little City Loser. Because Reno is the biggest little city in the world. And so she joined it because she had been wanting to lose weight really bad for a while and couldn't lose it, and was trying. And I think a lot of it had to do with the weight of, all the stuff I was carrying too. I mean, like, we couldn't really put our finger on it, but like, there was a lot we weren't talking about, a lot we weren't dealing with, and we were just like pretending it didn't exist. And I felt like, well, if I don't talk about it, it doesn't exist. If I don't tell you my thoughts about it, it doesn't exist. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know if I don't tell you. And things like that. That's how I thought. I felt like I could just keep it to myself. And so she goes through this program, and it ends up being a really big positive thing for her, and her self-esteem improves a lot, and she starts feeling a lot better. And that's really great. That was really great. And I felt like just so happy and so great. And it put more of a stress and struggle on me because it was more spotlighting me to say, yeah, Justin, what do you think? All this attention, Like, what do you think? And I'm just like, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, she's wonderful. Yeah, she's the best, things like that. And I did really love her. I did. And she really was amazing, and she is amazing. But sometimes people just don't work out. Sometimes people just don't get along. And that's kind of what happened. We just didn't really end up getting along, ultimately. And things got hard and too hard to deal with, too hard to bear. And like I've shared, a lot of things I was feeling that I just wasn't dealing with, So that's a big part of it. So, yeah, time passed, and I continued to, I guess, in a way, become more of a wild boy. In a way, well, I say that, but I continued to hang out with Evan. It continued to get a little easier because he was getting older, but our age gap never changed, of course. But he was getting a little bit older, and we would go to the river. There's this river flowing along the side of the highway that had a cliff you could jump off into the river. It was like every boy's best dream. It was like if I had this when I grew up, first of all, my mom would probably never let me go. Because there's like broken bottles and stuff there and everything, and there's just like up top on the top of the rocks, you couldn't walk with shoes. You couldn't walk barefooted at all, of course, because there's so much broken glass everywhere. It was just insane. You had to swim with shoes on, which is no big deal. I mean, swim with shoes on, no big deal. Get your freaking shoes wet, no big deal. And so that's what you did at Painted Rock. And we would do that. We would go there and have just a blast and like have a day. And like I would get into the position where I was almost like I kind of had to ask permission to go do the things I wanted to do. Like I would go see shows. I would go to like a metal concert here or there once or twice a year, or once or twice here and there, and spend money to do that. And she went with me with one show because it was a band that she liked, but all the other bands she hated, and it wasn't her style of music, and she couldn't take it and handle it at all. So it was really hard being there with her, and not really that enjoyable. It would have been a lot more enjoyable if she liked the music, but she just didn't really like the music. And so it was tough. It was screamo, and if you don't like screamo or metal or screaming, then it's hard to just be there if you don't like that kind of music. It's like if you really hate country and you're at a country show. And so I would have to like ask permission for things to a certain extent, or at least I felt like it. I felt like I had to, because again, I was mitigating her happiness and things like that, her approval, her acceptance. It went from her, all of those things, but it shifted from her happiness to her acceptance and her allowance and her approval in a way. I kind of gave up on her approval after a while. I just kind of gave up on it. And like this is like, it was a challenge, like I'm talking about. Like a lot of parts of me, like I don't want to get too crazy or too sad here, but like a lot of parts of me, kind of in a way, it felt like a lot of parts of me died along a period of time, along this course of time. And I just didn't really talk about it. It just kind of was what it was, and it just didn't matter, because it was just like, well, what can you do about it? It's nothing to do. It's nothing. Like, what can you do about it? You just can't do anything about it. It's like, this is just how it is. You just have to accept it. So it is really sad, you know. It is really sad for sure. I'm not trying to be all pouty here, but it was sad. It was. And so I would go to the river with Evan and some friends, and we'd have fun times. We would record videos and be silly and stupid, make YouTube videos, and of course be immature. And that was the whole thing from her angle. Was like, you're being so immature, basically. She's like, she wouldn't even say it. She would just like look at me and just like roll her eyes and just be like, really? Like, seriously? And she would be so, her feelings would be so palpable, it wasn't even funny. It would just be like, dude. It wasn't like, dude, you know you messed up. It was like, dude, like, you know that she is just like so straight up, like you should know. You should just know. Here's my sister and my little nephew. Love them. You should just know that, I don't know, that she's so unhappy with you, or you should feel bad. It was a feeling that said, you need to feel bad about this because she's literally like in disbelief. She's like, she can't believe it. She's kind of like, and she wasn't like as cool as she could have been or should have been. Like where she could have just been like, well, you know, yeah, you guys are having fun. That's cool. You know, like, yeah, definitely. You should do that. You should have fun, you know. Have fun, you know, you should do that. You should have fun. It was more so like, no, she was just like, she didn't like it. And I know it came from a place of insecurity and things like that. And jealousy, because I was happy with him, but I wasn't really that happy with her. And I wanted to be, and I tried to be, and I tried my hardest for so long to be. But eventually I got to the point where I was like, dude, I don't know, man. I'm trying. I'm literally trying, but I'm having a really hard time. And I don't know how to say it, but I'm just having a hard time with this. And I'm dealing with it. I'm doing the best that I can. And again, I'm not trying to say that she's some insufferable biatch, but at times, you know, it can be very smothering. It can be very much like, you know, just, like, oh my gosh, man, dude, like, man, can you just be nice to me? Like, can you just be nice to me, please? Can you just be nice to me? And like, I just couldn't be myself really. And like, who I am now, who you see and meet, the person who's sitting here talking to you and telling you all these things and saying all these things, me speaking for myself in general, this didn't exist back then. This didn't exist at all. I wasn't able to talk about these things. I couldn't even comprehend talking about these things or even thinking about these things, because it would mean so much. It would mean like, oh my gosh, so many changes. It would mean like, oh my gosh, you're not happy. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? And like, oh my gosh, you know, like just an unbelievable amount of just unbelievability, I guess, for lack of better words. Just a big degree of like unfathomableness, you know, just like, what the heck, like you like what, you know, like what? And you know, so I got to the point, I finally got off night shift, back on days, which was wonderful. We moved into a little house, which was cool, a nice house in a nice neighborhood, a clean new house in a nice clean new neighborhood, and rented it from a family friend, got a great deal on it. Had our cars paid off, both of us working full time. We had it made, basically. We had it made, and yet inside I was just like, you know, like, this is me at the time. This is me in a nutshell at the time. Here it is. Just like, sigh, not a deep head shake, not misery, but yeah, misery. Yeah, misery. Yeah. A degree of misery. Just being like, you know, feeling kind of empty, you know, feeling empty. And we were growing, and we were 23, 24 at this time. And just like, well, this is how it is. And it was supposed to be better because I worked days again. and we were both getting home around the same time. It was supposed to be better, and it just wasn't. It was actually worse. And I want to be careful about how I say that, because I'm not trying to lay it on too thick. I don't want to like come across and say like this was so horrible, this was so horrible. I would really hurt some feelings, But we had distance. I mean, we lived in this house, had a little computer room, and that was my room. Like, I set up my computer, had my movies and CDs on the shelf, and I never really felt like in the relationship, like I felt like I couldn't completely be myself. I felt like my relationship, I felt like my identity was defined by her. And I don't mean that in a blaming sense. I don't want to blame it. It's easy to blame. But I just felt like who I was depended on her. She was my identity. My relationship with her was my identity. And in other words, I listened to metal music. I loved all these bands. I had interests. I had hopes, I had dreams, right? And then you get married, and what happens? It changes, right? It goes away. You lose it. You let it go. You're supposed to find a different replacement value for yourself. You're supposed to be happy with your husband or your wife now. You're supposed to be happy with your spouse. You're supposed to be happy with them. And then you're supposed to have kids at some point. Well, it just felt like, oh my gosh, kids, dude, no offense, but I'm not ready to have kids. I just don't. I'm not there. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't want to have kids. I'm scared to have kids. I'm scared. And she was not really pushing it, but she had some issues, health issues, where she couldn't necessarily have babies as easily as most people. And we never tried. We did not ever try. But if we were, we knew it was going to be hard, and so we just kind of waited. We waited. It was we knew that if we were going to, we knew that it was going to take a lot of effort, and we were going to have to really try. And so I feel like because of that, we didn't at all, because we were kind of just waiting for that period. We were waiting for that time where we realized, we're ready. We're going to have to figure this out. We're going to have to do this. Okay, we're finally ready to do this. So we're gonna do it. And we never got to that point where we felt like we were ready to, where we wanted to and we're ready to, which is great. It's a huge blessing in disguise, because the reason I say that is because I don't think that me and her were meant to be. And I mean, if you have kids and the relationship doesn't work out, then it's a massive challenge. You have kids, and it's a more complicated type of issue. It's a complicated issue. And yeah, totally. So we didn't have kids, which was like I said, a blessing. And I think it's very sad, and that kind of epitomizes such a great word. I haven't used that word in a long time. It epitomizes the fact that our relationship was just sad ultimately, because we could have, but we didn't. And at the same time, we could have and we did, meaning we could have gotten together and moved across the country and gotten married and lived happily ever after, and we did, but our happily ever after didn't last. And it just got to the point where I felt she did her thing, I did my thing, and never the twain shall meet. Basically, it was like that. So, yeah, it was just like that, It's kind of lame, honestly. But kind of am ultimately. But a lot of really good things came from it. A lot of really good experiences were had. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. We had some amazing times together. We had some amazing companionship. Everything. Um, Closeness, you know. And I miss that. I miss that. You know what I mean? Like, I miss having that in my life. I miss that, meaning I miss having that and having that person. But at the same time, I'm glad that I left, and I'm glad that I got out of the relationship, because if I had stayed, I think my life would not be so much better. That's something I struggle with, and that's the demon that messes with me. The demon says, you made the wrong decision. You went the wrong way. You had a perfectly happy, perfect life, and you left it. You walked away from it. You lived in Reno. You had a nice car. Like, you lived with your wife. You had a house, nice house. That does mess with me. But I really don't think that, like I said, and like I've said before, like, I don't really think I would have been happy. Like, we tried. And sometimes, and like, you can go to therapy. I didn't go to therapy. I didn't want to go to therapy. I didn't want to go to counseling. I didn't want to do anything like that. And when I told my parents about it, when I told my dad about it, he was surprised and didn't really know what to say. Didn't see it coming. And so he was kind of like, well, you know, have you thought about doing some therapy or counseling? And I was just like I kind of like tried to entertain his solution a little bit, but deep down I was just like, I don't want to do that. Like, I know I don't want to do that. I don't want to save this sinking ship. I want it to sink and be done. I don't want it anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I could try to save it or want to save it, but I don't want to, you know? I don't want to. And that's the big difference. And so I think this is actually like the best I've been able to talk about it ever, really. I had it. Well, I had that. I had all of that. And I didn't want it. And that's a topic for another video. Because I gotta go. But thanks for listening, you guys. And I encourage you to do the same kind of work.